do want to rewind a little bit. This is like in the story after my family had and everything I loved was gone, but before I got saved. This is how my life was forever changed by coffee and donuts. So by this point in my story, I had already hit the bottom. I was living in a van, not in a cute Instagram van life kind of way, but in a I don't even know where to park tonight without getting kicked out kind of way. I was still using and drinking. I had done the rest of my drugs and drank the rest of my whiskey. And I got kicked out of the parking lot I was squatting in. And so I started to drive. I drove until I was nearly out of gas and found what looked like an industrial area. It was like an empty lot. It was in the back of a building, quiet enough to hide in. Sure that they're not gonna kick me out of here. I parked, exhaled, and did the one thing I've always done when my brain gets too crowded. I wrote. Writing's always been how I cope with things, my mirror. It doesn't just help me get things out, it helps me work things out. Like somehow putting my thoughts on paper lets me see them clear. Like maybe there's truth buried in there I didn't even know I was carrying. I apparently fell asleep because the next thing I knew, the sun was out, the empty parking lot was full of vehicles, people that were nicely dressed were walking into this building I had thought was a warehouse or something. And I was like, man, I don't think this is a freaking church. And I was like, well, maybe they got coffee and donuts. And so I slipped in the back door. It was a great big church. Big enough to where I thought it was a warehouse, right? So I slipped in the back, and guess they had coffee and donuts. And so I grabbed those, and I was curious at this point of what was going on. I mean, like, when you see people at church that are walking in, and like all of them are smiling, everybody's greeting each other, and it's like, man, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Because every place I go into doesn't do that. Every place I'm going in, they're like, who's sitting? So I was curious. But I was also overwhelmed. Still high, still drunk. And had my coffee and donuts in hand. I was about to go right back out the same door I came in. And then I saw a man like standing, greeting everybody. I was like, maybe I'll ask him. And I walked up to him, and I was like, I don't know where to go. And he looked me dead in my eyes, grabbed me by my shoulder. He was a big dude, like this. And grabbed me by my shoulder, looked me dead in the eyes, and said, son, where do you want to go? I was like, man, I ain't thought about that in so long. Like, that's a really good question. And then he said, follow me.
Come on.
And he took me into the sanctuary where I'd never been to church. I'd probably like 3 times my whole life. I had never seen worship before. I had no clue what was going on. Everybody's got their hands raised. And I was like, what am I doing? This is crazy. And I still had my coffee and donuts. But he still said, follow me. I walked in, and he introduced me to a lady who was helping everybody find seats. She was like, he said to her, this is Mark. Make sure he gets a good seat. She said, okay. And she said, follow me. And we went up front. She was like, I doubt there's anything up front. There was 1 seat left up front. Right? She was like, well, there's your seat. They're awesome. Great. So like, this worship band was there was a dude on the keyboard, 2 different guitars, a bass player, 4 singers, and then their drummer was like in the subwoofer box. And so my bass is just hitting me in my chest. Like everybody's got their hands up. I'm weeping by the end of it. In my coffee and donuts. I didn't stand up at all. the music came to a lull, and I looked over, and it was a familiar voice, and I was like, I know that guy. And the lady next to me was like, yeah, that's Pastor Bill, this is his church. That's the same guy that I asked where to go.
Come on.
Amen.
Come on.
And then Pastor Bill proceeded to preach a sermon that spoke directly to my heart, directly to my head, everything that I had felt and been feeling, like it felt like he knew. And he came up to me after church and he was like, did you enjoy the sermon? I was like, yeah, I mean, like, I wish you would have left me alone a little bit. That felt personal. He was like, I felt like you were talking directly to me. He was like, I was talking to you. I was talking to everybody, but I was talking to you. And then, once again, he grabbed me by my shoulder and said, follow me. I want to introduce you to somebody. And he introduced me to this 22-year-old kid named Josiah. Josiah, if you're watching that movie, brother. And I was just telling him a little bit of my story, like what I was going through. And Josiah looked at me and he was like, have you ever accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? I was like, I don't even know how to do that. They do like light candles or yeah, I don't know the rules. And he was like, no. He was like, here, I'll help you. And I got saved that day on the front steps of God's church.